Welcome to our deep dive into the Analects. I've always been fascinated by how ancient wisdom can still feel relevant today. And the Analects, with its collection of Confucius's sayings, it's like a treasure chest of timeless insights. It's not a straightforward narrative, though. Think more like snapshots of conversations and teachings, compiled over centuries.
Yeah, like eavesdropping on Confucius, interacting with his students, getting those nuggets of wisdom directly from the source. What's fascinating is how the Analects doesn't just tell us what to think, it guides us on how to live, how to interact with others, how to build a better society. And these ideas, despite being centuries old, they still resonate in our modern world.
It's like Confucius had this uncanny ability to tap into something universal about the human experience. Let's dive into some of those core teachings, shall we? One that really stood out to me was the concept of authoritative conduct, or Ren. It's not just about being nice, it's something much deeper.
Ren is about striving to become the best version of yourself, not in isolation, but within your community. Think of someone you admire, a leader who inspires others and creates a positive impact. That's Ren in action. It's about cultivating your character, your integrity, and using that to uplift those around you.
So it's not about grand gestures or seeking recognition. It's about those everyday acts of kindness, respect, and responsibility.
Yeah.
And that can make a real difference, right?
Absolutely. Imagine a workplace where everyone embodies Ren. It wouldn't just be about individual success, but about supporting each other's growth and working together towards a common goal. Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would completely change the atmosphere, create a much more collaborative and fulfilling environment. Now, another concept that intrigued me was lie, which is often translated as ritual propriety. It sounds a bit formal at first, but it's actually about creating meaningful connections and a sense of belonging.
You see, lie isn't about blindly following rigid rules. It's more like a framework for respectful communication and interaction. Think of it like a dance, where you have specific steps. But you can also bring your own style and grace to the performance. It's this balance between structure and individual expression that makes lie so powerful.
So how does that translate to our modern world? Especially in a digital age where communication can often feel impersonal and chaotic.
That's a great question. Lie reminds us that even in online interactions, we can create a sense of order and respect. It could be something as simple as carefully considering our words before posting a comment, or taking the time to truly understand someone else's perspective before responding.
It's about bringing that same intentionality and respect to our digital lives, isn't it?
Exactly. It's about recognizing that even in the virtual world, our interactions have real-world consequences, and that lie can help us navigate those interactions with grace and integrity.
Now, alongside Ren and Li, we have Yi, often translated as righteousness, but perhaps better understood as appropriateness. It's like having an inner compass that guides our actions.
Think of it this way. Yi is about asking yourself, what is the right thing to do in this specific situation? It's about taking into account the context, the people involved, and the potential consequences of your actions.
So it's not just about following a set of universal rules, but about understanding the nuances of each situation and acting accordingly.
Precisely. It's about developing that sensitivity and discernment to make choices that align with your values and contribute to the well-being of your community.
And it's fascinating how the Analects doesn't just tell us about these concepts in abstract terms, but through vivid examples and anecdotes, like the different ways Confucius interacted with his disciples, each with their own unique personalities and strengths.
It highlights how Confucius was a master teacher. Tailoring his approach to each individual, he didn't just lecture, he engaged in dialogue, challenged his students to think critically, and encouraged them to apply those teachings to their own lives.
It reminds me of how important it is to find mentors and teachers who can guide us on our own journeys of self-discovery.
Absolutely. And speaking of journeys, let's talk about those key disciples who played a pivotal role in shaping Confucian thought. We have Yan Hui, known for his profound understanding of the teachings. Then there's Zhengming, the skilled statesman and businessman, who was sometimes a bit too focused on profit.
And let's not forget Zhengzi, whose emphasis on filial piety became a cornerstone of Confucian thought, and Zhigtia, who made significant contributions to literature and the preservation of ancient texts.
Their stories bring the Analects to life, showing us how these teachings played out in real people's lives, with all their complexities and contradictions.
It's like we're getting a glimpse into a vibrant community of learners, each contributing to the development of Confucian thought.
And that sense of community was central to Confucius's philosophy. He believed that individual growth and societal harmony go hand in hand. He saw learning not as a solitary pursuit, but as a collective endeavor, a shared journey toward wisdom.
And that's something we can all learn from, right? Whether it's in our families, our workplaces, or our communities. We can create those spaces where dialogue, respect, and shared learning can flourish.
Absolutely. And those spaces where individuals feel supported and empowered to grow can become the building blocks of a more harmonious and fulfilling society.
Now, I'm curious about the text itself. It wasn't written in one go, right? Tell me a bit about the journey of the Analects through time.
Imagine this. It was compiled over 3 centuries. During a time of great upheaval in China, it faced the destruction of the book burnings ordered by the first emperor, and then, remarkably, it was reconstructed during the Han Dynasty, piece by piece, like a giant puzzle.
Wow, that's quite a journey. It's like the Analects itself embodies those principles of resilience and adaptation that Confucius emphasized. It's a testament to the enduring power of these ideas.
It truly is, and this layered history makes studying the Analects even more fascinating. It's like we're engaging in a dialogue not just with Confucius, but with generations of scholars who have grappled with his teachings and interpreted them in different ways.
It reminds us that learning is a continuous process, a conversation that spans across time and cultures.
And that's what makes the Analects so relevant today. It's not a static set of rules, but a living body of wisdom that we can continue to draw from and interpret in light of our own experiences and challenges.
It's amazing how these ideas have survived for centuries and continue to resonate with people from all walks of life. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about those other core concepts we briefly touched upon earlier. Remember, xi, di, wen, and xiao. They add even more depth to the Confucian worldview.
They certainly do. Each of these concepts plays a crucial role in understanding how Confucius envisioned a flourishing life, both for individuals and for society as a whole. Let's start with Ji, which is often translated as knowledge. But it's not just about accumulating facts, it's about putting that knowledge into action.
So it's about bridging the gap between theory and practice. Like, knowing something intellectually is one thing, but actually embodying it in your actions is something else entirely.
Exactly. Think about a doctor who has studied medicine extensively. Their knowledge becomes truly meaningful when they use it to diagnose and treat patients, to alleviate suffering and promote healing.
It's like their knowledge takes on a whole new dimension when it's applied in a practical and compassionate way, becomes a force for good in the world.
Precisely. And then we have the te, which is often translated as virtue or power. But it's closer to the idea of excellence achieved through realizing your potential within your community. It's about striving to become the best version of yourself, while simultaneously contributing to the well-being of those around you.
So it's not just about personal growth in isolation, but about recognizing that our individual flourishing is intertwined with the flourishing of our community.
Exactly. Dave reminds us that we don't exist in a vacuum. Our actions have ripple effects. And by cultivating Day, we not only elevate ourselves, but also inspire and uplift those around us. Think of a teacher who not only imparts knowledge, but also instills in their students a love of learning and a desire to make a positive impact on the world. They embody Day by nurturing both their own growth and the growth of their students.
That's a beautiful example.
Now let's move on to Wen, which signifies culture, and refers to the patterns that define both nature and human society. It's a fascinating concept that highlights the interconnectedness of all things.
So it's about recognizing that we're not separate from nature or from each other, but rather part of a larger interconnected web.
Exactly. Wen encourages us to see the beauty and harmony in both the natural world and in human relationships. It reminds us that we have a responsibility to care for both, to preserve the delicate balance of nature and to cultivate respectful, harmonious relationships with each other.
It's like when it's urging us to expand our circle of concern beyond our immediate selves and to see ourselves as part of something much larger and more profound.
And finally, we have xiao, which represents filial piety and emphasizes the importance of family as the foundation of society. It's about honoring our parents, respecting elders, and recognizing the invaluable role that family plays in shaping our values and our sense of belonging.
But family structures are so diverse these days. How can we apply Xiao in a modern world where traditional notions of family are constantly evolving?
That's a great question. Xiao isn't about adhering to rigid rules or outdated traditions. It's about recognizing the fundamental importance of love, respect, and care within our closest relationships. It's about creating a space where different generations can learn from each other, support each other, and pass on values that nurture both individual growth and family unity.
So it's not about living under the same roof or following a specific set of customs, but about cultivating those bonds of love and respect, however our families may be defined.
Exactly. Xiao reminds us that family, in all its diverse forms, is a source of strength, resilience, and enduring love. It's a reminder that our connections to those closest to us shape who we are and provide a foundation for navigating the complexities of life.
As we delve deeper into these Confucian principles, I'm struck by how practical and relevant they feel. Even in our modern world, it's like they offer a roadmap for living a more meaningful and fulfilling life. But how do we actually put these ideas into practice? How do we bridge the gap between understanding these concepts and actually embodying them in our daily lives?
That's where the real challenge and the real beauty of the Analects lies. It invites us not just to passively absorb information, but to actively engage with these teachings and find ways to make them our own.
So it's not about memorizing a set of rules, but about finding ways to integrate these principles into our interactions with the world.
Precisely. And the Analects doesn't give us a step-by-step guide. Instead, it offers us a framework for thinking, a set of values to guide our choices, and a vision of what a flourishing life in a harmonious society can look like. It's up to us to take those tools and find ways to apply them in our own unique contexts.
It's like Confucius is saying, here are some principles that can attest to time. Now go out and make them your own. Figure out how they resonate with your life, your values, and the challenges you face in the world.
That's a great way of putting it, and that's what makes engaging with the Analects such a rewarding experience. It's an invitation to embark on a journey of self-discovery, to explore these timeless teachings and find ways to make them come alive in our own lives.
It's like we're having a conversation across centuries, drawing wisdom from the past to illuminate our present and shape our future.
And that's the power of great ideas, isn't it? They transcend time and space, connecting us to something larger than ourselves and inspiring us to strive for a more just compassionate and fulfilling world.
Speaking of connecting across time, let's take a moment to imagine Confucius living in our modern world. What do you think he would make of the complexities of the 21st century? What new sayings might he add to the Analects to address the challenges and opportunities of our time?
That's a fascinating question. Considering his emphasis on human connection, ethical conduct, and lifelong learning, I imagine Confucius would have much to say about our digital age, our global interconnectedness, and the rapid pace of change we're experiencing.
I could almost picture him scrolling through social media, shaking his head at the negativity and misinformation, but also marveling at the potential for connecting people across cultures and fostering understanding.
I wonder if he would offer a new saying about the importance of mindful engagement with technology, something like, the wise person uses technology as a tool for learning and connection, but avoids becoming enslaved by its distractions.
That's a great one. It reminds me of another Confucian idea, the importance of balance. He might also have something to say about the overwhelming amount of information we encounter daily.
Perhaps he'd encourage us to be discerning consumers of information, to question assumptions, and to cultivate critical thinking skills. Maybe a saying like, the unexamined information is not worth knowing.
Love it. So true in today's world of information overload. It's not just about absorbing everything, but about filtering, analyzing, and finding those nuggets of truth. And given his emphasis on social harmony, I wonder what he'd say about the polarization and divisions we see in the world today.
I imagine he would stress the importance of empathy and understanding, of finding common ground despite our differences. He might even say something like, to disagree respectfully is the mark of a true scholar.
It's a reminder that respectful dialogue is essential for building bridges and creating a more harmonious society. We can learn so much from each other, even when we don't see eye to eye.
Speaking of learning, I think Confucius would be fascinated by the possibilities of global interconnectedness. Imagine him connecting with people from all over the world, sharing ideas, and fostering cross-cultural understanding.
It's like he'd be a global citizen, using technology to spread his message of wisdom and compassion. Maybe he'd even have a saying about the importance of embracing diversity.
Something like, the world is a rich tapestry woven from the threads of many cultures. To appreciate its beauty, we must embrace the diversity of its patterns.
That's beautiful. It reminds us that our differences are what make the world so vibrant and interesting, and that by learning from each other, we can create something truly remarkable. It's been an incredible journey exploring the Analects. It's amazing how these ancient teachings still feel so relevant and insightful today.
It's a testament to the enduring power of wisdom, isn't it? And it's a reminder that we can all learn and grow from engaging with these timeless ideas.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up our deep dive, I'm left with a sense of hope and inspiration. Confucius's teachings remind us that we have the power to create a better world, starting with ourselves, by cultivating our character, strengthening our relationships, and contributing to our communities, we can make a real difference.
And remember, the Analects is not a destination, but a starting point. It's an invitation to continue exploring these ideas, to find ways to make them our own, and to share that wisdom with others. Who knows, maybe you'll even come up with your own Confucian sayings for the 21st century.
That's a great challenge. And with that, we encourage you to keep diving deep into the Analects. Let those ancient teachings guide you, inspire you, and empower you to live a more meaningful and fulfilling life. Until next time, happy exploring.